The real lunatic here is Marco Rubio, who's trampling on people's First Amendment rights. And it's absolutely shameful that somebody who says his family came to the United States fleeing an authoritarian regime would send hooded agents to disappear people because of controversial speech. Shameful.
I think this is a constitutional crisis. It's not the role of judges to set foreign policy or military policy. Ending these deportation flights, like these people are literally here illegally. They broke the law to come here illegally. And the president has certain powers adjudicated to the executive branch that he's allowed to use.
In 2021, President Putin wrote an essay laying the groundwork for his invasion of Ukraine. This was a year before the recent invasion. In it, he rejected the very right of the Ukrainian people to exist as a distinct and self-governing nation. In writing, the essay is full of lies. It would have made Adolf Hitler proud. But it shows one thing is true. Mr. Putin is a Russian imperialist to the core.
Thank you for the question, and I'd love to meet your son.
Yeah.
We can talk hoops. We can talk about the Pistons who are actually doing something this year, which is exciting, right?
Yeah, not setting the losing streak record like they did last year. Yeah.
They won themselves out of a good pick.
Yeah,
so that's the downside of winning games. Anyway, thank you for your question. It's a problem, right? It is an absolute epidemic that's gone on, and for all of us up here, and we can disagree on a few things as we have today, and you know, I don't think they're right about a few things they've said. We can disagree with that, but one thing we can agree on is that the litigious environment that we're in makes things expensive for all of us, and ultimately, the folks on the end of those trucks, the folks that are paying for that cargo and that bottle of shampoo or whatever these guys are hauling, are the ones that are going to pay for that, right? And so we're a part of a number of lawsuit reform programs, kind of state by state. We've decided to attack it state by state because things seem to move a little slower here than they do in some state capitals. And so I think continuing the conversation is probably the most important thing we can do.
But jury service is the foundation, the very beginning of where we can fight for our democracy and take it back. Jury service is how everyday people from every walk of life come together to protect the rule of law, fairness, impartiality, and justice. It's where we say justice belongs to the people, not to the politicians, and not to the powerful.
Earlier this year, Congress passed the Lake and Riley Act, which includes Sarah's Law. Ernst says it requires authorities to detain any undocumented immigrant who commits a crime resulting in death or serious injury.
And it just came together in this perfect storm where we could finally get this law passed so that other families don't experience what Michelle and Scott had to endure the last 9 years.
With Sarah's Law in place,
one obvious example has been their efforts to prevent the spread of diseases overseas, which not only killed millions of people worldwide, but because diseases know no boundaries, can come here to our shores and kill us. It's also illegal because AID is established by statute, passed by the Congress.
The Trump administration is trying to decimate an agency that has protected us in the environment since the 1970s. And let me just emphasize, it's not their intention to reform it or to improve it. Is to basically destroy it.
And finally, last but not least, last night, Donald Trump did an executive order essentially taking away collective bargaining rights from all federal employees. For those of us from Wisconsin, Scott Walker, remember when he did that during the uprising? This is what Donald Trump is doing. All of this is out of Project 2025. Everything here is just trying to take and dismantle the federal government so that you can then show it doesn't work. And
Director Patel, I learned just recently that you only heard about this yesterday, which blows my mind since I heard about it 2 days ago, and I'm just a low on the dais, junior chipmunk here. Did you really only hear about this yesterday?
The exact timeline I'm not aware of, but yeah, I think it was yesterday or the night before.
And now that another day has passed, do you believe...
Well, actually, it was the night before the hearing.
Now that another day has passed, do you believe that it's now time potentially for the FBI to open an investigation into this?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Now, I learned in the military that the cornerstone of leadership is accountability and responsibility, and that flows down through the organization. So I am gravely concerned that the message coming from the Trump administration is the people at the top don't have any responsibility and accountability, and I'm concerned about the message that sends to our troops.
This isn't a political issue. It's about trust, discipline, and the safety of our service members.
To me, the increasingly worst part of this story is the complete impunity and lack of acceptance of responsibility.